Welcome to Benogan. It's our latest project out here that we just picked up.
Like there are luxury homes here, $3, $4, $5 million homes.
So I personally don't think the house is savable. As you can see, the termites have had a good go at the place.
You actually see the roof is collapsing here.
Truck on country, I'll give this to Carson. So I got you truck on country. The excavator will go through the house, pull it apart piece by piece.
When we first walked past it, I was like, that house is staying. Yeah, unfortunately, this one's a bit too far gone.
Welcome to Find, Fun, Develop. I'm Shannon.
I'm Carson.
We'll take you on the journey through our projects.
And when we say we look for warts, this is exactly what we're talking about.
Welcome to Benogan. It's our latest project out here that we just picked up. You can see it's sold. What's the backstory, Cars? What was the...
So this one come up in December. So been with the original family since 1870. So it's probably the last rural res zoned property of this size in the Gold Coast, if not one of very few. So it was pretty hotly contested. I think there was 14 offers on this one, and yeah, we managed to get the nod, which was nice. So there was a couple of offers that were higher than us, but their terms and weren't that great. So we a few backwards and forwards, but we ended up with it. So yeah, it's going to be a good little project.
Yeah, the agents were good. The boys knew it was going to be a development site, so they had already conditioned the seller that there'll be terms, like there'd potentially be a 6-month settlement, which is what we ended up with. And we'd need access to the site and start lodging DAs and need consent and all of that. So we have lodged a DA on this one now. We've had our first RFI back, and we've had a few little challenges along the way already, and we'll walk you through them now. We'll take you for a walk into the job. So we're just coming into the new road now. So more or less we're on one side of the road here. The other side is that large tree on that side. And just behind it, you can see a power pole. So what we had to do was make sure the power pole was just outside of this entry so that we didn't have to go and move it. But we've changed. When we originally started this project, we were just going to make this a public road. So 6 metres wide of asphalt, 20 metre wide reserve, going down this hill and around the corner. And then through the journey, we actually decided that we're going to make it now a little private estate. So it'll be 10 lots internally. It'll be a body corporate estate, and then we're going to put a really nice entry piece up here. So where we're standing will be a roundabout, sort of a roundabout internally with some nice big gates, cameras, nice landscaping. And it'll roll off from here down into a 19% grade for about, I think it's about 40 to 60 metres. So one of the biggest challenges we had here was actually engineering, because as soon as we changed that, we didn't want our entry piece sitting on a 16% grade, which is what it was. So we had to pick it all up, flatten it out, try and get it on a 10% grade. That's about as flat as we could get. But by doing that, it then pushed the gate and everything out further and then caused us to go into a 19% grade coming into the site. And then as we get down the bottom, you probably can't see it from here, but down the bottom there's a gully. And as we go through that gully down the bottom, there's a 7 metre high retaining wall. And council didn't like that at all. They don't like to own retaining walls. They want to make sure that's within private infrastructure, so they don't have to maintain it in the future. So what you have to do with your engineering report is you have to do a swept path assessment, and that is to make sure that large vehicles like a bin collector truck can get in around a roundabout and actually get back out, and that light vehicles and medium trucks and whatnot can get in and turn around, because you're not allowed to create an entry point and then have vehicles reversing back out on the road if they can't get through the gate. So, like Sam said, you've got to be able to turn around and get them back out safely so they can manoeuvre around. It's a good point.
One of the other big items as well with your storm water from each of the blocks, normally you get it into the road and then you put it into a basin. These blocks fall away, so we wanted to put little systems on the back of each block. The council weren't that keen on that. So we had a basin down in the middle of the creek, and they were like, we actually don't like basins in the middle of a creek. They like to have them offset as well. But when we kind of worked out the pros and cons of keeping a basin there or putting these little kind of systems on the back of each of the blocks, it worked out that was a far better system, better ecological outcome as well, because we're not clearing as many trees to get pipes down through the trees down into this basin. So all in all, we're clearing way less trees. and we're taking the basin out of the creek by doing that community tidal as well. So put it under the road at the back, filter through, and the blocks that we can't treat through the road, then they'll have their own little system on the back of it. So it's not council preferred outcome, but when they outweigh, that's the grey in development.
Yeah.
That's really hard, and that's why you need a really good team to have these different solutions, because you can say to council, well, yes, I know it's not your preferred solution, but you don't like clearing trees either. Which one do you want?
Yeah.
Like, this is a code accessible DA, or it can be, you know, like we have to find an outcome here that's, you know, the lesser of the two evils, I suppose. So
We'll take you down to the dam after so you can see what we mean, because when we say we're building a basin in a creek, it's not a creek like you imagine. Like just down here below us, it's just a gully in the side of the hill that's very dry, full of trees. There's no water in it, apart from when there's a large stormwater event. But because water does migrate to that area and then that's where it travels, that's now considered a creek. So even though it's not a running, beautiful, luscious platypus, there's none of that in there, it's just bush, it's still considered a creek, and that's what you have to take into account when you're doing projects like this. Oh. So again, hard to imagine, and like Carl said, when you walk around the project, but this is roughly where the gate will sit. So all the roundabout and everything is up above us up that way, connecting to the road. And this is where the gate will sit in the future. We're in the middle of the road, so. Right here where we're standing is the centre alignment of the road, running straight through. Right here is about 5 metres of fill up to road surface. And the retaining wall I'm talking about is, the retaining wall that we have to build is about in this vicinity, and it's 7 metres tall. It's only for a short period, it's about 20 metres, just as we get through this gully. And the 7 metre high section is only about 3 to 4 metres wide before it starts to taper up again. But this is the stuff we need to look out for. And this is the waterway we were also talking about before. So this leads down into a dam. It's down below, but this is considered a natural waterway because all the water migrates to this point in a big stormwater event, and you get overland flow here. So yeah, we're standing in the middle of a creek, supposedly.
one of the things we're doing here as well is trying to think about how we can have a point of difference for the sales side of things. So we're actually trying to make a lot of the blocks flat. So we know we can probably do a lot of the retaining for about 100 grand a block because we're here doing all the rest of it at the same time. If a buyer comes in and do it across the road, there's an estate, and we're talking to the agent, and people getting quotes of upwards of $200,000 to flatten out the block. So, you know, we've got the opportunity to do that up front. We know it's going to be easier to sell. It's, for a lot of people, it's just too hard basket, so they just won't do it. So
because we're here, we've got scale of economy, so doing it as part of the project, we can do it a lot cheaper. We've got a place for that dirt to go. So we factor that into the project, and we use that dirt from cutting on the blocks and filling and whatnot to build our roads and build other pads out. Whereas if we just deliver them all sloping, like Carson's saying, the homeowner's got to come in, they've got to pay for the dirt to go to the tip somewhere or to another project if they can find it. And it just becomes uber expensive to do it at that level. Whereas we got scale of economy, like I said, doing it in the project and just factoring it in.
yeah, there's basically, I don't know of any acreage subdivisions that have happened recently where people have, you know, benched and made nice flat blocks. Let people just do the natural topography when they're doing the acreage subdivisions, and that's what we've done previously as well. But we can see the value of spending that money and that little bit extra time to, you know, think about, we're coming into a softer market as well, so we want to give ourselves the best opportunity to sell these blocks. So we just think it's money well spent. So it's something that if you're playing at home and you've got to doing your own project as well, you've got to think through the pros and cons, because sometimes it's not worth it and sometimes it is. So talking to your agents and then talking to your your engineers and actually work out where the line is, because sometimes it's too steep where it's better off doing a split level build or a house on poles. You just physically can't do it. So there is a line.
You've been doing it a lot lately, talking to builders with other projects.
Yeah.
And you want to explain that, like the versus your volume builders versus a pole home or split level builder, trying to find them.
Yeah.
And what they're asking for, like.
Yeah, well, they don't want to do, a lot of builders will not do the split level houses. So your builder pool shrinks significantly, and if you've got a buyer that wants a builder they want to work with, and they bring the builder out to the block, they'll just be like, oh, it's too steep, why don't we come over to these other blocks, and they'll basically take your buyer somewhere else and try and, you know, give them a block that they're happy to build with. So yeah, we've got some steep sites at the moment, and we just can't physically flatten them out. So we are talking with builders once again, trying to solve that problem for the buyer coming in, saying, hey, look, here's a builder that's actually affordable, because when you start getting into pole homes and even just split level builds, some do it reasonably affordable and some are horrific. So if you leave it up to the client to go find that right builder, that could be the difference between you selling that block or not. So we're, one of the jobs we've got to do at the moment, we've got a new project in Bangalow, we've got one in Balambul Heights in Tweed Heads. Both of them, we can't flatten the blocks out, so we have to find a builder where it works and we can put some packages together that makes sense within the median house price of what people would pay, because if we can't do that, we won't sell the blocks. It's as simple as that. So
that's probably the most important part. It's like understanding what the market in the area wants, right? Like there are luxury homes here. So we know people are pushing, like you touched on earlier, $3, $4, $5 million homes on steeper blocks. So it's like, okay, well, if we spend 100, can we charge an extra 100, 200 grand per block to sort of justify that? And even the builders that are building across the road, we're having those conversations with them. We're having the conversations with the architects who design those houses and going, all right, what's the biggest feedback that you're having? It's like, oh, well, it's only 2 builders who are actually going to come out here and build it, and the square metre rate is X. So it's like, okay, well, if we can fix that, can we sort of bring in more competition into the sort of buyer pool? So all of a sudden you've got 3 or 4 builders. So they have to get competitive. They've got to get sharp with the pricing to win the business. And all of a sudden, like the clients that are actually buying these blocks are getting better outcomes. And at the end of the day too, people will only buy what they can see and visualize. Seeing this now as it is, or seeing a steep block, it's hard for a buyer to actually go, yes, I can see myself living here. I can see a house here. Whereas when it's nice and flat, they can picture their kids playing in the backyard. They can picture their kids running around. They can picture what the house is going to look like, driveway. You're already fighting a bit of a uphill battle with the gradient coming in off the road. There's already a lot of slope and a lot of eco factors that we're fighting against that you want to sort of work against and go, okay, this is what it's going to look like. And one of the reasons we're with this project too is that we're going to sell it on the back end, and as opposed to trying to get some pre-sales on the board as well, is that we know if you bring someone to a site like this now and try and say, hey, this is where your lot's going to be, they're going to go, okay, yeah, what do you mean? What do you mean there's 5 metres of fill that are going to come in here and my lot's going to be up there somewhere? Like, it's hard to picture and hard to visualise. So then all of a sudden they're not happy to spend the money.
Yeah, it's a very different sale, like Carson was saying before. He gets, you know, the wife to stand on that side of the block and husband to stand on that side. And once these are done, we're aiming to sell these complete and done. So people will be walking out going, okay, our house is, you know, 40 metres wide and 10 metres deep, and this is roughly where our house is going to go. This is where our pool is. There's the shed. Look how much yard we have left. And they're doing the physical. They can see the dream then, and that's what you got to sell. Because taking people out to this and going, your house is going to go there, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So,
100%.
cool.
Lovely.
Let's go and have a look at these houses. We've got 3 to go and walk through. Next up, it's time to check out the houses on the property and decide what we want to do with them.
Giving these a good tap. We found termites, memorabilia,
I'll give this to Carson.
a collapsed roof, the jungle taken over, and more than a few warts. We'll see you on the next episode of Find Fun Develop.
And in the meantime, follow us on socials to see what we're up to.